Hey, White Sox fans, Brett Ballantini here hosting post-game podcast two. The numbers are getting all confused because we just had the opening day podcasts. And last night we did our first sort of condensed podcast, me and Sam Sherman. But I've got, once again, the entirety of the Indianapolis field office with me here for a post-game podcast, a very special one. It's Chrystal O'Keefe and Joseph, Super Joseph Resis, joining me to celebrate. Hey, what happened tonight?
something with a no.
Man, cool. 20th no-hitter in White Sox history. Nearly a perfect game. Absolutely crazy way to lose a perfect game. And I thought it was funny that Carlos Rodón jawed, I think, in good-natured fashion, but jawed a bit at Roberto Pérez as he was limping to first base after that brutal floppy hit by pitch. Lame. But all right, guys, impressions. I'm not sure how many no-hitters you've seen in your life. I guess maybe you both might have caught Lucas's last year, but how'd that feel?
It's been a thrill. I still remember Giolito's very clearly from last year. I was doing the game coverage on that one, and yes, it was difficult for me to type because I was shaking so much. And I would have had the same experience tonight had I been the one doing the recap. It was just a thrilling adventure tonight. Starting from pretty much the seventh inning onward, it was tough for me to kind of sit still during this game. And Benetti was kind of hyping it up as far as all of the injuries that Carlos Rodón has dealt with in the past and how nice of a comeback story this would be. And that was kind of building the suspense even more than it would typically be built up in the latter stages of a potential no-hitter or perfect game. And so it was a very cool way for this game to wind down. And it's something I won't forget for a very long time.
Yeah, that's right, Joe. We were doing Sports Illustrated, so that's where our recaps were. And on Southside Sox, we were just doing just six-pack coverage. That was sort of our coverage. That's what you were doing. And I was like, Joe, I think you got to actually write a little mini story just this one time. I think that was really technically the only recap we had all last year on Southside Sox because it was just six-pack stuff. Otherwise, I said, yeah, I think you're going to have to make some special arrangements for this one. So you did a doubleheader duty there. Chrystal, how did it feel? You stayed up, you got it down.
I did. I stayed up. I kind of had a laugh because I actually almost wore my Lucas Giolito I was there virtually no shirt that the lovely Billy O'Kay created for a company called 26 Shirts. I almost put that on today, but I was like, oh, no, he's not pitching. But it would have been perfect. But no, that was exciting. I was taking some puffs on my inhaler because I was so nervous the entire time. But gosh, it's great to see. I mean, you could tell he was really confident from early on in the game, and it's good to see somebody overcome so many things and probably listen to so many people just say he was washed and his career was over and come back from surgeries and then throw no hitter immediately, 12 games in now. So yeah, that was awesome.
Far be it from me to give you wardrobe advice, Chrystal, but realize now I think that t-shirt has some real power. So don't burn it. Use it when we really need it.
I'm just gonna tell my husband to continue making shirts.
Yeah, right. It's just, even if a guy does have a no-hitter, just make one. Nobody else has to see it. You can just wear it underneath a jersey. Yes, I'm even donning my technically it should be unbuttoned about down to my belly, but it was a cold night in Chicago tonight. And to your point about the confidence was interesting, even though there were some real hard hit balls, they all came late in the game. The earliest one, I guess there was one hard hit from Perez in the third, that line out to right field. But then it was just from the sixth on. Sixth, you had Perez with another one, the ground out. That was a crazy play that Leori made. Holy cow, to steal a hit. And then Ramirez, the one that Rodón acknowledged certainly on the field after the game, probably in his press conference as well. Low key MVP of this game, Andrew Vaughn, got a lot of action in left field. And, none of them weren't, I mean, it seemed like generally routine plays, but those are a guy who's never played there. You can turn routine plays into hits very easily. So a little cap tip there to Andrew Vaughn as well, among all the other guys who get credit for what happened tonight. And then even that very last out, had a 540 expected batting average. So some hard hit stuff. So, there's always a little bit of luck in these no hitters. But Carlos got it done. Were you thinking going into the ninth that something was going to at least screw up the perfect game? What was your feeling going into the ninth in terms of, was it going to be a no hitter? Was it going to be a perfect game? Or we're both going to get dashed?
I was terrified of the defense just doing something. And that, oh gosh, that out with Jose Abreu, I just felt everything just slowly coming up. I was like, no, this is going to be it. He's going to sacrifice his legs and he's going to be injured and it's just going to screw everything up. And then I'll just probably start crying and drinking early. But that was my only concern.
This was very stressful for you, Chrystal. I got to say, it was very stressful. I was a little calmer than that. Joe, how did you handle entering the ninth? What was your confidence level?
I was doing some pacing around the room at that point. I couldn't really gather my thoughts. I was cautiously optimistic, but didn't feel that strongly either way as far as whether or not he was going to be able to get it. I was leaning toward yes, but I wouldn't, it's literally one thing could mess it up and that's all it takes. So it's kind of tough to expect that much. And when to go off of that play at first base in the top of the ninth on the Josh Naylor ground ball, I thought on the field that he was safe. And so when they went to review it, I was like, oh no, they're going to have to overturn this because they're going to review, and it would look really bad if they reviewed this and still kept it. But yeah, he missed first base with that right hand, and luckily the correct call of out was made, and that was terrific. And the hit by pitch, that was, I can hardly blame Perez on that one. I mean, it was pretty far inside. There was one several years ago with Max Scherzer on the mound where Jose Tabata had very clearly leaned into a pitch to ruin a perfect game in the ninth inning. This was not the same thing. Perez, that pitch was pretty far inside, and he didn't really get out of the way of it, but I could hardly expect that. It's frustrating, but it's one that I understand, and I won't hold that against Perez at all. And I'll gladly still accept the no-hitter, even though he was very, very close to the perfect game.
Well, and it's not like he leaned into it. And listen,
Right.
Roberto Perez is going to owe Carlos Rodón dinner whenever he sees him for that nonsense. I mean, they're going to have something to jaw back and forth on. Even Carlos, I think, said, I don't blame him. I would have done the same thing.
Yes.
And if it was a closer game, it'd be even more justified. When it's 8-0 and there's one down already, you're like, geez, really? Pretty weak, but all right. Hey, listen. And again, it's not like he didn't throw an ephus. I mean, it was normal reaction, it seems. Coincidences in this game. I don't know if either one of you caught the fact the home plate umpire was Doug Eddings of 2005 Lee Championship Series AJ Pierzynski drop third strike fame. So he just cannot shake infamy and fame with White Sox games. Also, 104 years ago today, another White Sox no-hitter, Eddie Cicotti, had a no-hitter for the White Sox. So sort of some strange coincidences. The game score for Rodón tonight, 101. Giolito's last year, because even though he had a couple walks, he had way more strikeouts, 105. But both not going to probably see a better game this year. Let's hope we do. Lance Lynn's probably kicked her eyes like, you just stole all my home opener thunder. So maybe he's going to come out. It's a quick turnaround tomorrow. So he could come out and mow some guys down. Cleveland don't really have the bats. So thoughts on tomorrow in terms of how the White Sox are going to come out? Is it going to be a little bit of a hangover from this, or are they going to just continue to roll knowing that Cleveland is not finding a lot of luck offensively?
I have to imagine it's just electric in there right now. And there is just no way that they're going to, I mean, I could be wrong, but there's just no way they're going to come off of this win and just completely tank it tomorrow. They have to just be out of their mind excited, and that's going to carry over. They're happy, they're doing great. They're going to keep it up.
I feel pretty much the same way as that. And though the White Sox had a very bad day at the plate yesterday against Bieber, they came right out of the gates tonight, scoring 6 runs in the bottom of the first inning. So, if you go off that, you could make the argument that, okay, my gut instinct is that like Cleveland will come out and they'll have a really big first inning tomorrow. But I mean, they're facing Lance Lynn, and I just don't think they have the personnel to hang a large run total against Lynn, who has looked pretty strong to open up the season already. And Cleveland's, they may still contend for a playoff spot, but if they do, it likely won't be a result of an explosive offense. And unless they have an uncharacteristically strong performance tomorrow, I see the White Sox coming out very strong again in the series finale.
Let's take a quick break, and we're going to get back to we're going to talk about a couple key plays from Yermin Mercedes. I think somebody's going to have something to say about Yermin. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Hello, White Sox fans. Hey, you know what? Carlos Rodón had a no-hitter tonight. We are talking about it post-game, talking with Chrystal O'Keefe and Super Joseph Resis about the game. And okay, there's one obvious great play for Yermin, which was a ball that may still be in orbit. Titanic home run. Keene, the 6th run, as Joe had mentioned before the break, that 6th run outburst in the first inning, which the White Sox really needed after the weak effort against, understandably, but weak effort against Bieber. But I want to talk about the fact that the designated hitter was on the field and at the mound just about as fast as anybody to celebrate the no-hitter. And I have to admit, I had flashes of Eloy Jimenez as he was barreling toward Carlos Rodón. Either one of you get a little bit scared when you saw him scaling the rail?
He's a big guy, and he ran so fast. Like, I just saw a lot of lives flash before me. Like, oh my gosh.
Yerminator has got some giddy up.
He's a tank. He's going to knock somebody over, and they're going to be hurt. And it's the last thing we need. We have Tim Anderson back tomorrow, please. Oh. Don't give me that heart attack.
But obviously his play was his homer was key. You got to love the fact he is hitting no doubters that he can't afford to pimp a little bit at the plate, because again he's sending him into orbit, and it's it's just extraordinary to see. And obviously he's a guy who ended up I suppose his efforts get a little bit overlooked based on the fact that, I don't know, that's right, there was a no-hitter tonight. So one funny thing I saw, Joe, as you are a fellow 6-pack writer, the win probability added, I think, really keys into it. I still don't quite understand it because I'm slow, I'm a little thick, but I do think it plays off of the leverage you encounter in the game. So maybe it's not surprising that Rodon's WPA tonight is low, but it's interesting that he technically wouldn't be considered, at least via that metric, the most valuable player in this game. He just had a 110 tonight, perhaps because he got that early lead and really didn't face that sort of pressure. And I think it is Yermin at 151 who would be technically the WPA MVP. Now, of course, that's why, stats are still just stats, I suppose, and I can't swear by them 100%, although I'm close. So I don't know. I might even vote for Yermin as the MVP of this game, because I sort of just stick with this Fangraphs box score. I don't know how to think for myself anymore. So I thought that was another interesting oddity about this game. There are a number of them.
That is exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly why Rodon's win probability added wouldn't be as high. Yeah, he was pitching most of this game in a low leverage spot because of that early 6 spot.
Joe, I've only been studying these box scores and Fangraphs for like 11 years now, since way back on the beat. And it's good to know I'm understanding it just a little bit. Thank you for that confirmation. Even if you just lied, I appreciate it. You can come back and talk on more post games. Other thoughts? Any other miscellaneous thoughts you guys have? I have a couple more details to throw out there, but Other things about the game jump out at you?
I think we should really give Zack Collins a pat on the back, a lot of credit. I mean, nobody had any confidence in him either. This was just kind of the no confidence in Rodón Collins game, and they came out and they crushed it. So I think he deserves a lot of credit as well for this tonight. And I was happy to see they were out taking pictures on the mound together post game. So he was awesome.
Yeah,
I'm happy he got the start. I'm happy he was there.
It's been pointed out, I think, by a few people that Collins has actually caught some pretty good games from the White Sox in the early going this year, and you wouldn't expect that. And I know it's not all because of the catcher, but it's not because of the catcher either. So, Chrystal, you're right. Hey, listen, tip a cap. This is encouraging. If you're a White Sox fan, you're like, wait, this guy could be a catcher?
Earning that spot.
Joe, what else you got?
I completely agree. It was a great moment for Zack Collins. And yeah, I said it was the first time he'd caught a no-hitter and that it was his favorite moment behind the plate. So it was great to see that he could be behind the plate during such a dominant performance that, you know, he probably played a decent role in as the catcher. So that was certainly great to see tonight, because obviously there have been a lot of questions about his ability to succeed in the majors as a catcher. So absolutely, I agree with that. I would also like to give a shout out to Nick Madrigal, who, like Mercedes, had 3 hits tonight. He's got a 366 on base percentage. He's doing that part of his game pretty well already. We saw the good on base ability in his short stint last season. And so far this season, he's been doing the same thing. And that's a big part of where his value will come from in the majors. And yeah, it's great to see that elite bat to ball ability in play. And yeah, unlike last year, we're also seeing his some patience and the ability to draw some walks, even though today he didn't draw a walk, but in general this season, his walk rate has been pretty high so far. And that's been nice to see from him.
Joe Resis with the drill down on Nick Madrigal on Carlos Rodon's no-hitter night. I love it. That's what you're here for, Joe. Let's get to a couple stats from the site. Very active game thread, obviously. No-hitter Anahito, once again, with the most comments, 31 as of my count before we went on air. The most recommended comment came from Don Gutteridge. Believe it or not, Don Gutteridge lives. And it had to do with Yermin, not the no-hitter. His was note to Tony, never again fill out a lineup card without Mercedes' name, unless he has a compound fracture. That came after the homer, but I think that's, based on the fact that about 11, 12, 15 people liked that comment, I think it is spot on. There's no doubt about that. And listen, as we wind up, it couldn't happen to a better guy. We love Lucas Giolito, but Carlos Rodón came in with a ton of hype, has really had sort of setback after setback. He's a character. Even last year in summer camp, he was barking at Luis Robert when he got him to pop up after he hit that Titanic. I think he was the one who threw the falling down home run pitch, or he had some Titanic blast off of Rodón way back in summer camp. He had a terrible year last year, obviously with battling injury, and just the fact that in the post game on the field, when Jason said, "Hey, Carlos, what if I told you a year ago you're going to throw a no-hitter? What do you say? I tell you to take a hike." It's like the guy's got a lot of flavor, and you just hope that he can, stay healthy, stay away from any of the stomach maladies the rest of the season. And, this is a guy who has always had that. In theory, he's had that number 1 or 2 in rotation potential. We've downgraded him now to a 5 or 6, but hey, so far he's been pitching as good as anybody. He's right there with Giolito. If that's a 1-2 that can sustain all season, the White Sox are tough. And in fact, let me just throw this in before we go. Looking at, based on the run differential standings, the White Sox right now would run away from the division just based on how what they're giving up versus what they're producing. I believe my count was, I think that's like a 105. It's early, of course, 105 win pace based on their differential. And I think there's only 3 other teams. Dodgers, Boston's another one. I think only 3 other teams projecting better than that. So you like the fact that even though they've been unlucky, or maybe they've had a manager who has gotten outmanaged, in a couple games early, it bodes well. And unless bad luck continues, poor management continues, this is a team now 500, I think a game back, half game back. This team is ready to spring, and they're running into Boston here at the end of the week at a tough time because Boston is swinging really hot bats. But I don't know if there's many teams tougher right now than the White Sox, even though they're just 500. And this could be a really nice springboard.
I'm excited. I'm so excited. I'm really excited going into Boston soon, that series too, because I think that'll be a fun matchup because Boston is really hot right now, but it seems like they're starting to figure it out on the south side. They're starting to gel, and like Joe said earlier about Nick Madrigal, if he can just stay consistent, it'll be good, and I will be far less concerned than I was a week ago.
It's a quick turnaround, Crystal, and whether or not you're going to be able to see all of the game, the wardrobe decision is pretty crucial here. So make a smart choice there. I mean, this is almost like a quick back-to-back. So maybe just stick with what you're wearing, but I mean, you've got some power. So make it work for us, because we need to go over 500 heading in on the road trip with Tim back. So Joe, final thoughts.
There was a moment in the top of the seventh during the Jose Ramirez at bat where I was very scared. It went to a 3-1 count. Rodón had missed with the 2-1 changeup, and I was like, okay, well, this was fun while it lasted. I was very much, I had a big feeling of resignation at that point, but I was like, okay, yeah, well, this has been fun, but yeah, it looks like that's going to be it for the perfect game. But yeah, the very nicely placed line drive to left field that Andrew Vaughn was able to track down. That was one of the highlights of the night. And I think that is the one moment besides the last out, of course, that will stick with me.
You didn't realize that Crystal almost wore the Billy OK shirt. Had you known, you'd have been a lot calmer, Joe, a lot calmer. And, again, another thing I forgot to mention, how about just the last play where he's yelling at Yohan? It was a routine play, hard hit. Get there, get there. I mean, the guy was into the game. God bless him for it. He deserves it. It was really nice to see. I hope he's really enjoying it. I hope he's fully recovered and he can take his turn in another 4 days. All right, Crystal, Joe, thanks. We're going to rush this up. Obviously, we can't get up as quickly as we did yesterday. So those of you who are on the West Coast, or you're just staying up because you got to know what Southside Sox thinks about this game beyond the printed word, well, we're going to deliver here as quickly as you can. Otherwise, good morning. Enjoy your coffee, enjoy your vanilla Coke, enjoy your tea as we welcome you to first day post Carlos Rodón no-hitter. And let's get a series win today. Early game, turnarounds quick. I'm drawing a blank on who's got the coverage. Hey, it's Super Sam Sherman taking his first game coverage of the year tomorrow. I think Jeremy Carl might be on the 6-pack. But anyway, we got a bunch of stuff coming your way, including full coverage tonight. So guys, thanks for hopping on with me, staying up. And I always can count on the Indianapolis office. So thanks for being there for me again. This is just becoming a habit.
Great to be here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody, for listening, watching, reading, all that stuff.